Okay, so let me tell you what happened based upon my experience, and it is moments where I felt stuck in life and just didn't know what I wanted to do right. So whenever I was lost, I would watch YouTube videos for answers, but as much as I watched them, it doesn't seem to provide a good amount of value. Or the YouTuber that makes the content doesn't really take the shit seriously. Like they don't just really have a lot of serious content or context, or they just don't provide a much more mature audience. So I mean, what I think about that is like when you watch these self-improvement YouTubers, they make these silly shitty clickbait videos, and when they ask you, they often give you the advice that kind of leads to wrong problems, right? Not all of them. I'm not trying to say all self-improvement YouTubers are bad, but like there's the majority of them that you see with like when they put like some sort of like flashy thumbnail. It's like, what is this? So, you know, most of the videos you see from them, they can just be used for entertainment or just outdated, or there's just mental masturbation. One of the things I've learned from reading books is that anything that could be offered for free could be really bad. If you read the book, The 48 Laws of Power, it basically talks about that you should avoid the free lunch, right? Because anything that is actually offered for free can lead to some sort of Pandora's box, even misfortune in life. That's why you've been flipping business model, the business model, business model, the business model, the business model. This is why you're stuck in life. This is why you still don't know. You're still in that fucking rut, not even knowing what to do in your life. You're still into that self-improvement depression because you always keep watching YouTube videos that don't even serve you shit. Like if you watch these self-improvement videos, what the fuck is it gonna really give you? Maybe even my videos too, but what is it really gonna try to give you? It's just free content, and sometimes free value. That free value, it just really doesn't provide a lot of value in it. I don't think you would even pay attention. It's just you just want dopamine. Just that's it. But all you see on YouTube is like these motherfuckers giving you the same advice on how to make money or how to get into NoFap or how to do X, Y, and Z. Top 7 ways to make passive income. Just BS, honestly. And you know, are you really taking YouTube videos really seriously? And maybe even my own videos. Like, are you really taking these videos seriously? Like, that's why I don't make any of these silly edits, because it's just like a one-on-one conversation out of tough love, you know. And this is based upon everyone's experience, even mine. But for first, if we ever wanted advice, if we ever wanted answers, it all came down to Hollywood, right? We all wanted to watch movies from Hollywood, and we often get all these advice about Hollywood, and it's just not how it works. And then later on, after you kind of stayed away from Hollywood, from Hollywood movies, you kind of moved on from red pill content, maybe even self-improvement videos. And then later on, now you're kind of getting into reading books, which is a really good idea, to actually always read books when you always need wisdom. So most of these YouTubers, they don't really take this shit seriously, and they just do it out of humor, how to joke. And I guess humor is nice, but in a way, we're just taking it so much as a joke about how many times you did this or how many times you did that. Okay, but kind of make it to the point where you're saying it out of tough love. Have some authenticity in your videos, please, right? And you even see in most fitness YouTubers as well, like they're just make these shit videos about like whether if you're natty or not, which is just a joke for, I guess, many 18-year-olds or 17-year-olds or many adults watching this, because they basically want the truth. They want answers, but the thumbnails and all the stuff you see, it doesn't really have any sort of appealing. Most of these people, they're just focusing too much on the market and the algorithm, like I said in the earlier video, and that is why they just lack authenticity. When you focus too much on authenticity, that is basically gonna fucking beat your competition. Don't forget the competition, right? So the thing that is better than watching YouTube and just seek answers on YouTube is through reading books. And the reason why I would always recommend to read books is that they're suited to the problems that you're having every now and then. Like, you're always gonna have problems every now and then, and you can't escape a life without problems. Everyone has problems. I have my own problems, and out of humility, I always have problems every now and then. But when you're reading books, it's just more appropriate. It's more structured. It's not like out of silly humor like these fucking self-improvement videos you see. But there's a huge difference between books and YouTube, right? Because when you're writing books, right, when it comes to books, they're for other people, right? But when you watch YouTube videos, they're for themselves in order to make money, right? So I get it, right? It's a low dopamine and it doesn't seem fun, but it is always the best to just read it as an opportunity to gain knowledge and see clarity in a misguided world that we've been deceived by false gods and by these role models that you look up to. Reading has helped me tremendously, especially in moments where I was gone on YouTube. I learned the right morals in life to step out of, the modern degeneracy that we've been filled by. I've also learned to limit my inputs and to be on self improvement. And I also became very aware of the problems that I really have to face right now, whether if it's like the darkest desires, our dark sides, and, our inner shadow that's within us. So, which is a video that I'm probably gonna make in the future, right? So it's just sad that, a lot of people just don't read. And I get the reason why you stop reading, and it really isn't your fault, you know, especially that you just don't read and just get into social media or just watching useless content on YouTube or just go on play video games where you just want to just achieve that status. It's not really your fault that you just don't want to read. Like, we've been indoctrinated by the school system that we were bad at reading, and we get this destructive criticism that really makes us just want to give up, right? And just think about it and just imagine this, ever since you were a kid and got into school, like ever since you were like 4 or 5, let's say you're in elementary school years or in middle school years, you've been told that you just couldn't read. You get this destructive feedback from your teachers, and they would just punish you for your mistakes. And the fact that you have to fucking remember everything from book to book, cover to cover, word for word. If you don't know what this word means, oh, well, this book isn't right for you, right? Well, they would just later on just put an F in your grade book, and then just email your parents that you're going to be able to perform well in school, and then your parents just shout at you and do this and that. It's just dark, right? They expect you to be a perfectionist in everything you do, whether when it comes to reading. They want you to remember word for word. They want you to overthink. They want you to go cover to cover. But let's be honest, dude. Most of these people who do this, they're not even successful. You don't have to just overthink when you're reading. Like, that is why you don't read. That's why we don't read anymore. And I've been a victim to this. And maybe you've been a victim to this, because the reason why most of these people don't read is because of that shit, right? And if this happens to you, then maybe you can relate to me based on my own experience. That is why I just don't read back in those days, because the destructive criticism I get from the past. And maybe you've been through that too. That's why you don't read, because you get that criticism from these teachers, whether it's from elementary or middle school, and they just tell you that, oh, you can't read. Oh, you don't know what this word means? Then okay, then that book isn't the right for you, right? So it's all bullshit. You don't have to know word for word for word. If a word just seems pretty esoteric, then forget it. Like, just keep reading, dude. You don't have to just overthink and just know like the big fundamentals. Like, that's what amateurs do. Like, do you know what amateurs, they always think, oh, what is the best pen? What is the best highlighter? What is the best marker, right? And don't worry, I've been through this before. And we often get demoralized based upon our past selves. We've been demoralized from the people of what other people think of us. And just simply close your eyes and just tell yourself, it's okay, little one. It will be okay. I'm always there with you. And just calm down, and it will be okay. Just meditate and just think clearly that you'll be okay, and that drop the old story and just think clearly that that is not you anymore, and that you're just in a good place, and you're not in this situation where you don't have to hold yourself back. You're not special. You're not perfect. You're not in that situation. If you're done with school, then you're not in school anymore. You've grown up. This is not you anymore. Just drop the old story, In school, you've been told that you were special and that everyone is different. But that word, that everyone is different, is an excuse and just a self-limiting belief. Because if I'm giving you this advice, it just doesn't only work to me. It should perhaps work for everyone else. People say everyone is different. We're all the same. We're all human. We can all learn the same things. We all have the same capacity. That's why we're so confused these days. You know, when you're playing a video game, we all have the same learning capabilities. We can all level up. We can all basically get that system and just level up. We can all get the same capabilities. So don't be ashamed of yourself and a failure. And reading is a part that a lot of people should do if you want to be successful. I know that there are podcasts, YouTube videos, newsletters, etc., etc. But when you think about these things, that doesn't mean books are obsolete. Books are not obsolete, and it never will be. Books will always remain, maybe in the next hundreds of years. You know, especially, you know, when we have all the old ancient books, you know, like the Bible, the Quran, you know, all these religious books, like they're still here and they're so valuable. You know, most self-improvement YouTubers, like if you see their videos like, oh yeah, ranking the best self-improvement habits from S tier to F tier, like they always put books in the B and the C tier, but that's fucking bullshit, dude, because it's a fucking lie. And the reason why they say that is because they want you to watch their videos, right? They want you to watch their YouTube videos so they can make a fuck ton of money. And it's just a joke, right? They're just trying to sell you off and just, they don't give a shit about you. You know, with books, it's a very serious approach, and it's a very mature approach. When you read books, it is more appropriate than the things that you see off of self-improvement videos on YouTube. You know, I get it, you know, right? Free value is good, but is it really? You really think free education is good? Do you really think free healthcare is good? It's a fucking scam, dude. You know, everything has a hidden cost, and we all have this scarcity mentality, and it's normal, right? But everything has a hidden cost, and it's better to get something that you get paid for than it is to get something that is offered for free, because you pay attention more than there is more valuable information, right? You know, one of the coolest things I've learned about reading, and even Alex Hormozy says this, is that when you listen to an audiobook while reading, especially when you listen to an audiobook at 1.5 times speed or above and read it at the same time, you begin to learn more. You begin to have more process and more quicker, since time is very limited. You learn more based upon your eyes and ears. So don't worry about how you read, and don't worry about these small little texts about, oh, what are the best strategies to do this? How can I take notes? How can I do this? What is the best pen that I could write with? But the truth is, that's only for amateurs. Like the experts, they're more into taking action than it is just knowing these micro things that don't really play a special role. Like, even, do I even have the best camera? No, but at least I'm recording, right? So think of the 80-20 rule. Don't overthink it while reading books, and read as if you're watching a YouTube video like this. When you're reading a book, treat it as if it's you're watching a YouTube video, right? But you're just not going to look at all those animations and all the speaking and all the stuff like that. If you're listening to an audiobook, then okay, right? But treat reading as a route to just learn many things out of just YouTube videos. I know that many people just want to learn through YouTube, but I just don't really think it's a very valuable. I mean, if you want to learn stuff like coding or, you know, building, or learn like other basic stuff that is outside of self-improvement, okay, fair enough. But serve reading as if they're temporary mentors that you can basically get constructive feedback, deliberate practice, right? And sure, there may be some free value things that is good on YouTube. Honestly, out of my own humility, like there's even podcasts that are really good, but I honestly would love to read books and just listening to podcasts, because when you watch podcasts, you're basically doing it out of entertainment. That's my opinion, by the way, but if you want to watch a podcast, go for it, right? So you don't have to just read a book and just take action right away. No. You can read and take action, absolutely, but there will be moments that you will have to take action, but it's not going to be like at an instant with like a snap of a finger, right? So it's better to read and not take action than it is to not read, right? It's better to read and not take action than it is to just scroll through social media and maybe watch self-improvement videos like this one and even play video games, right? Because inevitably in your subconscious, most of that information that you read will come to your mind, and you'll begin to realize when it is the time to take action, right? So it's not going to always happen in the perfect moment. And the benefit of it is that even if you're reading and not take action, you're basically going to get a lot more exposure. Like, you need exposure based upon the stories of successful people, the learnings that you've been taught by these authors who are masters at their craft, who've experienced more of that pain, that they're also willing to share it. It's basically as if you're having a conversation with these people, you know, like Marcus Aurelius and, you know, the Stoics, you know? So it's always good to have the will to just always read, because it makes you become a very highly effective person and a leader. You know, you should have the discipline to read and gain new information. You know, you must be willing to become a lifelong student and learn for the rest of your life, because that is something that great leaders do in their life. You must be a lifelong student. You know, when you're reading a book, you learn the mistakes of others while having to face the harsh realities of life, right? It's as if it's the guidance, the wisdom, and mentors, right? Because books are basically temporary mentors. They're basically giving you this guide of what you should do, what you should not do. And I guess I've learned a lot from reading books. And I think it's helped me with other aspects. It helped me kind of deal with the harsh realities of human nature, the harsh realities of the stuff that is really dark in this misguided world. Sure, there's videos that are good, but I often believe that if you're going to want to start off with self-improvement, go with books, because they give you a lot more value than it's like self-improvement books. But once you get all the basics down, then go for it, right? But it must be the right ones, you know, the right ones, the right books that you truly relate to. I know there's like a bunch of books that are pretty shit, but there are some good books that maybe I might end up recommending that I truly trust. And yeah, so if you're reading a book, it's okay to just go book hopping. You don't have to read cover to cover just like you were told by the school system. Sure, there are other books that require you to read cover to cover, but there are books that you don't have to just read cover to cover. Don't stress yourself out when you're reading books. You don't have to remember word for word for word for word. You don't have to remember vocabulary to vocabulary like you've been told by the school system. You know, I've been to that point where I've been overthinking too much when it comes to reading books, right? So read a book that's based upon your current situation. For example, if you're having trouble with being productive in life and developing good habits, read books like Atomic Habits or Feel Good Productivity. If you're having trouble with your social skills, read books like The 48 Laws of Power and How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you're having trouble finding purpose in your life, read books like Ikigai or Mastery. If you're having trouble with starting a business, read books like .com Secrets or The Millionaire Fast Lane. So all of that really comes down based on the current situation that you're in. And that is how you will have the interest of remembering most of the information that you read on them. Basically, both of those books align. So read a book that is based upon your interest and your current situation that you're having right now in life. You know, treat it as a moment of free time. You know, if you're at school and you have nothing else to do, right, and just wait while you're being told by your teachers, go read while these motherfuckers are just constantly scrolling through TikTok, watching oddly satisfying shorts or these, you know, degenerate shorts or these for playing mobile games, right? Especially when your boss like calls you out on break when you're at work. Go read a book that fits on your interest, or maybe even listen to a podcast as well, because podcasts is also part of learning. But choose the right podcast as well. Reading and listening to podcasts are good too, but I'm a huge fan of reading more than just listening to podcasts, but they're both really good as well. So have fun and enjoy whilst reading.